In today's Call the Wild, is the Obama economic team in big trouble? Let's bring in John Carney, managing editor of BusinessInsider.com. We also have Heather McGhee, Washington office director at Demos. And we also have CNBC's Steve Leisman with us as well. John Carney, I'm going to go to you first. It seems like they're in big trouble. Are they paying the price for Tuesday?
I think they are. I think this is the Obama administration trying to show that it is going to change directions dramatically. And we saw that in his reference to my pal, Volcker behind me. I'm putting in the Volcker rule. This is all about trying to give the Democrats a chance to win in November.
Steve Leisman, let's go to the Bernanke story. A month ago, I said he was in trouble. A month ago, I said he couldn't get a bipartisan vote. Now there's issues whether he can get a majority vote. And you had Senator Russ Feingold of Wisconsin. The Democrats are coming at him from the left. They're blaming him for all the bailouts and the banks. The Republicans are coming at him from the right, saying it was his loose money. He doesn't have a center, Steve. Is he on the way out? Is he going to have to withdraw? I think that's an issue right now.
I guess I can report right now that clearly the leadership is concerned. Let me just kind of give you the tale of the reporter's tape here, which that over the past several weeks, while you were saying what you were saying, the leadership was very insistent they had the votes. This was going to get done. This morning, they're telling me that they're counting the votes. They don't know what the opposition is. And what's interesting about this is first, on the surface, that they're counting the votes. But secondly, when you think and you want something to happen, you create an air of inevitability. They're no longer creating that air of inevitability, and that creates some question.
Harry Reid, after the meeting last night,
very lukewarm statement.
He didn't even endorse him.
It was a very lukewarm
statement.
John
Carney, he didn't even endorse him.
Well,
Reid didn't even say, I'm for it. I'm sorry, Heather. All right, you take it. Heather, Senator Reid, correct me if I'm wrong, but I tried to read it from the Washington Post and elsewhere. He didn't even say, I, Harry Reid, are voting for Bernanke. I think that's incredible.
Listen, I think we need to step back for a second. This is a lot of inside baseball, but on a policy discussion level, which I think is the level that President Obama is always going to be at. He's a very smart man. He brought together a team of rivals because he knew that he had the personal strength and leadership and courage of his convictions to take opposing views and distill something that reflected his values and the values of the voters that put him in office.
It doesn't seem like he likes them now, though. I mean, you just see Tim Geithner standing way off to the side on the other side of Volcker yesterday. He's not supporting Tim Geithner any longer, it doesn't seem like. I mean, it doesn't feel like he's supporting Ben Bernanke anymore. You say he's bringing these people together. I don't know. It sounds like he's sending them away now.
There's more than just Bernanke and Geithner and Summers on his economic team. Paul Volcker is on his economic team. We have union leaders on his economic team. So I think that basically there's been a long argument.
But Heather, who are the people?
Longer.
Who are the people in positions of power? Who are the people with the staff? Who are the people with the budgets? Those three people, Bernanke and Summers and Geithner, are the ones who are in charge of the major economic institutions.
John, do you think Geithner's on his way out as well?
I think Geithner is going to stick around until after the November elections. Right. You need to keep somebody in place so you can fire them once you lose in November, and that's exactly what's going to happen, which is actually very dangerous because that makes Geithner basically a lame duck, and we're still in a very tricky financial situation.
Larry, we did some research.
I've been there. I've been there, John. Steve Leisman's point is very important. Paul Volcker may, at the moment, serve Obama's left-wing populist purposes for bank bashing, although Volcker himself is not really a bank basher. But yes, I get that. But what Steve Leisman is saying is right. When you look at the people with the staffs and the budgets and the personnel, they're the power players. Now, John, I want to ask both of you this question. John, now when Geithner speaks on the Hill, will he be listened to? Will he be credible? It's very clear he lost this battle on the bank bashing. Will he be credible, John?
No, absolutely not. He has lost all authority. Nobody is going to listen to him anymore. He is basically a lame duck in office right now. It's actually hurting us to have him stick around in office because we'd want somebody who people think has the ear of the president. Right now, everybody did the little Kremlinology thing we saw yesterday where they said, whoa, look who's no longer standing next to the leader. And Tim was staring down at his feet, looking like a hurt boy. That kind of message means that when Geithner calls up a senator and says, you know, we need to get this done, we need to get that done, nobody is going to answer his calls. Nobody's going to listen to him.
Last word to Heather. What's your take on that?
I think that overstates it in a big way,
Of course they're going to answer his calls because they know that when Geithner speaks, he's speaking with the voice of President Obama.
I don't think they know that anymore.
That voice may be a little bit different because in the other ear, we've got people who have, I would say, the better ideas on bank regulation.
Heather, you don't want to defend. You don't want to defend Tim Geithner. He's the most conservative guy in the whole White House apparatus. Heather, you're a John Edwards person. You're ready to shift him over. You've already thrown him under the bus. Who do you want to replace him, Heather? Who is your? Come on, you're left of center. I appreciate. I respect that.
President
Who's your
Obama,
man?
who I think is the smartest man in the White House and in Washington, frankly.
But isn't going to be Rahm Emanuel? Isn't Rahm Emanuel the next Treasury Secretary? A lot of people think Emanuel's running it right now. 105 phone calls last summer, et cetera, et cetera. Is Rahm Emanuel your man to run the Treasury?
Absolutely not. I think that Rahm Emanuel has been a key part of the administration, but in the end, it is President Obama. In the end, President Obama's values are going to be reflected in his policies.
Steve Leisman, how do I get John Taylor in at the Fed? How do I get it? I want John Taylor to be the next Fed chairman.
You definitely need a majority of Republicans in the Senate, and you
I can get that. I can deliver that.
You probably need a Republican president.